Assalamu alaikum and very good evening to all of you. This is Gohar Sharif with another episode of Coffee with Gohar. And today my guest is Reem, life and business coach. So welcome to the show. Reem, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? Thank you, Gohar, thank you for inviting me to your live, to your Facebook live.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Reem. Reem lives in Dubai and she has joined us from Dubai. So we are going to talk about her life, her challenges and her accomplishments. So let's start with early childhood. Can you share with my audience, my viewers, something about your early childhood? Where were you born? How you went through? What are your fond memories, early childhood? How do you see yourself?
Well, I remember my childhood as a happy childhood. I was a happy kid, and I was the youngest among 4 siblings, with the difference of about 10 years between me and the eldest. So my parents were not very much involved in feeding me, spoon feeding me the perception of the world. I observed and I was very skeptical about things that are around me, and I only accepted what serves me. So I take that as a great opportunity because, the eldest child will be followed up closely by the parents, but not the youngest. So that gave me a great opportunity to explore by myself. And since today we're talking about healing and how to heal your life, I'm a business and life coach, as I said, and I work basically with groups as well as individuals. I'm a certified life coach, NLP practitioner, hypnosis practitioner as well.
Yes.
That's it basically about my childhood. I remember in the context of healing, I remember my grandmother when she used to she was sick. She had a stroke at one point, and she was struggling with it. And I remember that she gave up. She literally said that I am expired, so it's just a matter of time, and then I'll pass away. So this really triggered an alarm in my mind. Why does she need to give up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, I studied physiotherapy. So I loved neurology. I loved anatomy, the body functions, all these. I was very curious for these. When I graduated, little I knew at that time, so I didn't want to deal with people who are having pain, with sick people because there is a mental health part that you really need to work on when you're working with a patient, right? So what I knew back then is that we can only give them positive vibes.
Right.
So I decided to leave physiotherapy and because I couldn't deal with that in a proper way. And I worked in insurance for 13 years. That's it. So basically then I got introduced to life coaching because I was always managing stress. I got introduced to life coaching for self-help, and then I decided to go for licensing to help people.
Great. In fact, we were together in one course for a couple of days, but
True.
I think we hardly spoke to each other at that point in time, probably. We were just introduced, maybe formally introduced some point in time, because we were not in the same group discussion or maybe in the same group healing exercises or something.
Yeah, I only spent 2 days of the whole course at that time because I just wanted it for self-help. That was the start, actually.
Okay, so you were there for the basic breakthrough,
Yes.
personal breakthrough. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So I did that one, which was the personal breakthrough, followed up with the basic life coach course. So it was a long course and with very, very demanding coach.
Yeah, definitely.
Roberts, and he used to just grill us from morning like 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. and then he used to give us lots of assignments. So you did it later on. You did the life coach course later on, right?
True. That's right. Yes.
Okay. So since you have done this life coach course, you are an NLP practitioner also, and you are also practicing hypnosis. What part of this toolbox, as we say, this is a toolbox you have with you, life coaching techniques, NLP techniques, and hypnosis. So which of the part of this you use most of the time?
Well, I use a mix of it. Life coaching is about questions, drilling down all these things, just to uncover what is the problem itself, and it deals with the problems in a way of questioning: is it really right? Is it really correct? Then there is the NLP part and the time paradigm. That's what I use the most, which is we work on the subconscious mind. And we introduce the change in a very easy way. So it's like a brain surgery. Yeah. So and hypnosis also, I use it when needed, of course.
Indeed, it's more like an open brain surgery.
Definitely.
When we go into the past and the client opens up, it's like we have to do something about it. We can't just stitch it up like that, because now his or her wounds are opened and he or she has gone back to that particular state and they are going through that particular trauma or whatever that issue was. So we have to give them at that particular point a rescue operation. We have to take them out, right?
Definitely. And the misperception that some people have is that life coaching is like psychotherapy or psychiatry. It's very much different than psychiatry because we don't go through the whole problem. We find the root cause, as you know, of course, but just to explain for the people who are watching, we go for the root cause, and then we don't talk anything about the problem. By the time we are finished with the sessions and the treatment, the problem is totally gone. They can't remember, or they don't resonate. Why did they have this problem in the first place?
Exactly.
Yeah. And also the different thing is that the coaching that we do is we don't give solutions. So we expect that the client, once he has the clarity, that he has all the power to find the solutions that suits his life. No one is in his place. So he would have the clarity and he would be the best one to solve it afterwards.
Exactly. The difference between us and the psychologist is basically they go much more in a structured way. They go through all their journal and their DSMs and all those things, and they go through the list, check boxes one by one. But we go straight to the root cause. And once we know the root cause, we address it by timeline, paradigm, those therapies. We start from there, right?
True. Yes. And it's a very, very powerful, powerful technique.
Yes, indeed. It is a very powerful technique. So what are your experiences when you are coaching people? Would you like to share any incident or any experience which you would like to share in terms of the recovery and the healing perspective?
Definitely. I have a great experience in that, and I'm so proud of it. Just let's start in the beginning to question, why does people get sick? So we know that our immune system is like so you know that production line, that it starts with the engine, then there is a packaging for the product, and then the end product at the end, right? The immune system is in our bodies is like the quality control, or the QC in that production process. So whenever there is an issue with the product itself, which is health, or the body itself, so it fixes it, or it discards the end product, right? So there is always monitoring. When the immune system gets impaired, then this filtration and this discarding and this quality control, it does not happen. And how does it get impaired? It gets impaired very easily, only with the stress. So we know that stress is causing a lot of diseases, right? Like stomach ulcers, like headaches, like we know that it has a lot of complications, right? Some people would have skin rash because of stress. So how does it happen? Basically, that okay, so like when we see a lion in front of us, we get that trigger as a danger, and what happens inside our body is that all the blood goes to our extremities, and the immunity and the immune system and the digestive system will be shut down, because we don't need it at that time to fight the lion. Now, the lion is an external threat, and we have also internal threats. So when we think about a stressful situation, that's an internal threat that causes the same reaction, the fight or flight response, the immune system shuts down, the digestive system shuts down. I had an experience myself that when I was so stressed, I used to gain weight without even eating more, and I was doing the exact same thing, but I was just stressed because of the hormones that gets released, like adrenaline, epinephrine, all these things. It really impairs the immunity. And now my experience with my client had a breast cancer, and basically she was stressed about it. The doctors they themselves say, who are treating cancer, that there are 3 important things in the cancer treatment. The first thing is the treatment, which is chemotherapy or radiotherapy, whatever it is, which discards the end product, like what the immune system does. And the second one is the mental health, or the coaching, because people, because they have sickness also, they get a lot of stress, anxiety, they can go into depression, right? Yeah. It's a very difficult situation, and there are difficult scenarios that they need to deal with. So we work on both sides, the effects of the cancer itself, or being diagnosed with cancer. And the second thing is the mental health in general. So the self-image, the stress levels, how do we perceive the world, what do we need support in the world, you can hear me now. Oh, all right. Yeah. So we work on all these things, and she was under a treatment that stops the growth of, under a hormone treatment that stops the growth of the cancer, but it does not do regression.
Okay.
Now, before I tell you what happened, there is one fact that I want to add. Within the cancer treatments, there are one part that they do for certain types of cancer, like leukemia. They implant the stem cells in the bone marrow to enhance the immunity system.
Okay.
So that they can fight leukemia, they can fight these types of cancers. So we know that improving the immunity really helps to treat cancer. So after 2.5 months of sessions with my client, she did a PET scan, and she had no active cancer cells, which was a great news for both of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was actually an amazing thing.
So you had the report. You had the report when she came to you seeking help. because of her mental stress and all the anxiety. And then after you did the intervention, you did the healing, then she went back, had the same test again, and there was no trace of it?
Yeah, there was no active cells. Yes, so
Great.
it was completely gone. So we know that moles, like let's say for example, moles that goes in our skin, is cancer
Yeah.
cells, but it's contained, right?
Yeah.
So what happens with her? What happened with her is that it got contained. There are no active cells, so it's not growing more, and it cannot even. The ones that are within that lump, it died. So it's only a dead tissue that is there.
Wow.
So that's a great thing, and that's
Amazing.
the power of that's the power of mental health. That's why mental health is really important. It affects all our lives. It affects our health. We have seen a lot of people with autoimmune disease. I'm one of the people who had like a thyroid problem. It's an autoimmune, which means that the body it fights its own cells.
Yeah.
Right? This is because there is an impairment or there is a poor immune system. That's why these things happen. It starts to do the wrong thing that it's not supposed to do. So from this perspective, I do of course encourage everyone who is having any type of sickness, whether of course to get the treatment. I'm not saying not to get the treatment, but mental health is a prevention for sickness, number one, because it improves the immunity. Number two, it helps the healing for cancer, for Parkinson, for psychosis, for anything that goes wrong in the body. It helps.
Life coaching, when you heal a person, they get mentally strong, and when they become mentally strong, their antibodies become more active and the immune system starts functioning to the peak, and then the vital organs also performing to the peak. And
exactly.
This is the correlation. When people are stressed and they remain in the chronic stress for some time, then their immune system gets weakened, and then all their vital organs start performing below that line. So that's how they get one disease after another, or they don't recover from the very first one.
They don't recover, correct.
Yeah. I have also another one of my experiences in the same context. There was a lady, in fact, there is a lady, she is very well and healthy. She was diagnosed with lymphocytic leukemia cancer, the same thing, like 14 years ago. And she was very sad when she came to know of it, when the tests were done. So immediately she got depressed and she called her whole family, and everyone was coming like we have in our customary tradition. Everyone was coming to ask about, inquire about the health. And she was almost writing her will and things, what is to be done, how it is to be distributed, her jewelry and everything. After a while,
she was prepared to give up.
Yes, exactly. I planted a seed, as we have learned how to plant a seed. So I planted a seed in an indirect way. And I said, okay, if one has to leave this world, why not enjoy the rest of the time one has? And why not to enjoy it to the fullest? And it somehow other, it immediately hit her at the right place. And from then on, what she used to do, she used to call all her sisters and their children, and 2-3 cars full of children and ladies. They used to go out for picnics, for parties, for watching movies and something like this, shopping. So the weekend was like from Thursday night till Saturday night. For 2 days, there was hardly anybody in the house. They were coming and going, and all the time children running around. And do you believe it? After a couple of months, she had her scans done. WBC count stopped. It was increasing. it increased from 12,000 to 16,000, then it stopped.
Yeah.
It stopped. Although she was taking medicine at that time as well, but it was not helping her. And then it stopped and it remained there for years and years around that range, plus minus something, because she said, okay, what if I have to die? Why not enjoy the life? And that was the
Sure.
spirit, and she enjoying all the time going for movies, for shopping, dine outs with kids. This is an amazing machine, the human mind. If it gets
Right.
stressed, all the body functions get stressed. And if this human mind is happy, it keeps everything in order and your performance graph up. It goes, you go
100%.
to peak performance, you go for excellence, you do anything you can dream of, and what you can dream of, you can achieve. But once you are stressed out, yeah.
Yeah, also our creation is really great. So we have the possibility within ourselves to heal, right? So when we have a wound, the body automatically, it closes it, it makes like a clog, and it closes down, right? So it heals. Now, when we don't work on the mental health part, even if we like work on chemotherapy or work on other things, the reason why it was created in the first place is still there. That's why it comes back, right? So people, they say that you can't heal in the same environment that, or within the same thoughts that caused your sickness. So change your thoughts.
Of course, of course.
So that it doesn't come back. Like it's like when you go to the dermatologist and you have a skin rash, they give you an ointment. It works, but you didn't heal or you didn't work on the underlying disease, right? Or the underlying reason why it happened in the first place. So it may come back
Exactly.
afterwards. So mental health is something which is it's beyond. It has a lot of power and a lot of effect on our lives, our health, our business, our families, without us really giving it the value that it deserves. And they have started also in US. Now it's a great deal. The mental health is a great deal there. They know that the profits for the companies, let's say that 20% of the profits is made by mental health. So if the mental health of the employees is poor, they will not go to work. They will yeah, exactly. It goes down, and they might create excuses so that they don't show up. Right? They don't feel that they want to go to work, which helps on the which affects the profit itself. So mental health, it affects all the areas of our lives, and I hope this video also, or this recording, this live that we're doing, it reaches the people and they start to think that really their thoughts and the way they look at things affect their reality, affect their health, affect their families, affect everything that is around them, and their business, of course.
Of course. And it's a very valid point you touched upon, Reem, since you are a business coach as well. The productivity of the employees goes higher and higher when they are happy, they are content. They focus on their job, they focus on their output, they focus on the productivity. And when they are not happy and they are depressed or dejected, they don't care about their timelines, they don't care about getting dressed up nicely, presentable form, and then they don't correlate and they function in a very dysfunctional manner within the teams. So when you have a person who is happy and that person is performing well, there is a team synergy. Then it is contagious. The second person gets affected, the third, and everyone. But if a person is depressed in a group or in a team, he or she pulls down everyone with him or her, because you go to the lowest denominator and everybody gets sucked into. And that's why there's a lot of emphasis by the companies these days on the mental health initiative. And since we in our coaching sessions and when we were learning, we came to know, and probably we were not aware ourselves at that time, that even the pimple on the skin or the headache or the migraine or the neck pain or the shoulders, backache, it is all related to our thoughts. And we were, in the beginning, we were also getting that kind of ideas, oh, how is it possible? It is more of a muscular thing, how it is connected to the mental thing. Then we came to know that it is all because of the feelings and the emotions we are carrying. The
100%.
excess baggage we are carrying from our childhood, early childhood, and then it later developed into those areas of our development, and those areas couldn't develop in our from early childhood, which was the imprint age, and then on to the socializing age, and then it went on and on. And today we are what we are because of the parenting we got in our early childhood. So that is a big service we as a life coaches do. We fix the adults, whereas it was their parents' responsibility to parent their kids, right? And we end up fixing the adults. A young child, a broken child is a broken adult. So they carry all those feelings, those emotions, all those self-doubts, low self-esteem, low confidence from the early childhood. And then they become indecisive, and their management skills are weak, and then they don't take decisions, and they're always into the procrastination state, right?
Yeah, true. Well, since you mentioned also childhood and doubts that we have, a lot, when we accepted this doubt, so we have, let's say, done a presentation in front of the class and it didn't work out. We were not talking well, or we missed to communicate certain thing, or we stopped in the middle, or they laughed at us. Whatever thing that has happened at that time, we tend to generalize a fact. So that fact goes with us through all our lives. Imagine that there are so many successful people. I was one of them. I was not aware that I had this. I was working in sales and sales management for a long time, for about 13 years. And I was closing great deals. But I was having that doubt at sometimes, which really paralyzed me at times. And I didn't know that this was there, and I couldn't challenge it. I couldn't really think twice. Why is it there? And then, so we accept things when we accept inabilities when we are young, and it grows with us. We don't have to accept it now. We didn't know much before, but now we know better, and we don't have to accept it. We can challenge it, and we can always ask ourselves, is it really true? And it always comes in the times of downhills. So especially now, it's a time of corona,
exactly.
And as they say, everyone is affected, right? So in this time, people tend to doubt themselves more, even more. They knew that they're good, right? So I used to know at that time that I can close millions of sales, right? But in times of downhills, people tend to doubt themselves. So if you are there, just check, what is that doubt that is going in your head? What is that small voice? What is it trying to tell you? If it is like, let's say, about our example of public speaking, then we can acknowledge it, that okay, fine, at a certain point of time I didn't have good public speaking skills, but now I can learn, because I know that this is an area for improvement for me. I can take an extra step. It's not that just a doubt and it's stopped, and it's stopping me also.
Yeah. I am doing coaching for a lady who is in mid-40s these days,
Yeah.
and yesterday was her third session. Would you believe it? She keeps on going back to her early childhood when she was young, and during a class presentation, she was mocked by her class fellows and made fun of her. And today, she is, after so many years, she is in mid-40s and she is now established businesswoman. She was still recalling that incident again and again in
Yes.
every session.
Because we don't challenge it. We take it as a fact.
Yeah. And that creates...
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, also
that creates... Sorry, Reem, please go ahead. Complete yourself.
No, please continue, because I'm gonna mention another thing, another example.
Yeah. What happens is that when we have these kind of incidences in our early childhood, then it makes us kind of less confident. Our low esteem, all the time it comes into action, and we are doubting ourselves, which creates self-doubts. And then whatever we are into, like we are maybe sitting in a big office with fancy chairs and all the nice furniture, but there is something wrong here, which creates that doubt all the time. Should I go for it? Should I close the deal? Should I do it? Should I not do it? And we take a lot of time thinking about it, which is procrastination, and which doesn't help in the end.
100%, 100%. There is another thing. I quote my daughter. My daughter is like 8.5 years old. She's quite young. So she kept saying, "I am lazy. I am lazy." I was surprised, because I don't tell her things like this. And with the distant learning, I used to notice that more, basically. So I asked her, "Why do you say that?" She hesitated to tell me, but then she was in the school. She forgot her notebook 2 times. The teacher told her, "You're lazy," in front of the whole class. She decided to take it as a fact, and then she started to say that about herself, and she started to act like lazy. She started, although she's very energetic and she moves a lot.
Yeah.
So we talked about this, and see at this, and if also we have as parents, if we notice something about our kids, they're repeating a lot, especially in the younger ages, then we should help them to challenge that. Why did you decide to say that? Why are you saying that about yourself? That's a great point also, that we should be aware of as parents.
Exactly. It is all about appreciation and encouragement in the early ages, from 0 to 7 years, which is basically called the imprint age. In that period, if you keep on telling your child, you are lazy, or you are fat, or you are clumsy, that boy or a girl becomes clumsy. Actually, they take it like a reality and they believe in it, as compared to if you just keep on telling someone, like a young boy or a girl, you are a superman, you are a supergirl, you are a princess, she will start behaving like, acting like a princess. Her gait, her walk, her confidence will ooze out in her every step, and she is full of confidence. And same goes for someone. If you tell them, "Oh, you are a genius, you are a genius, you can do this, you can solve this in 5 minutes," he or she will immediately go into that mode to surprise you with an even better performance by excelling in grades and performance and achievements. So this is how we train our young minds into becoming a genius, or becoming super intelligent. But at the same time, if we ridicule them, we mock them, we criticize them, that is the other side of the story.
100%. I coached also a boy. He's not even a teenager. He was like 12 years old, and he was doubting that he's smart. That was
Okay.
because he got some comments from people who he trusts, that what you don't understand this, or you're slow to understand something. So he then got convinced that he's not smart, although he was very, very smart. He is very, very smart. So we need to be careful how do we talk with our kids. We need to be careful what our kids are saying, because that's their future as well. That's the doubts and the facts that will grow out of them. And to be, of course, aware of our own facts, our own doubts, so that we can challenge them and take the next step.
Okay. So what is the next step for Reem Stateyeh? What is your dream? What you want to do in life? When there must be one special dream. Would you like to share it with my viewers? What is your dream?
Yeah, well, after 13 years, I have found my passion, which is life coaching. I love it. I love it. Really, it's I like work for a long time without even getting tired, without being bored. I enjoy it a lot. So I want to take that on a global level. So I'm not only wanting to do it like in UAE or in a certain area.
Right.
It is something very powerful, the tools that we have,
Right.
and it's life changing.
Great. So with this thing in your mind, I offer you to work alongside me in the global synergy, and so we
Definitely.
reach out and help the world, and let's spread the smiles all across the world in these
Definitely.
testing times when everyone is so much freaked out, so much nervous, so much tense. And these are probably the worst times we can think of, because nobody has imagined a pandemic like this will affect the whole world. There were viruses before, like prior to this, there was MARS, there was MERS, there was Ebola, there was Congo flu, there was mad cow disease. There were so many of these if we go back 10, 15 years. But none of these viruses were as strong, and it was an epidemic, not a pandemic. Pandemic at this global stage, and this contagious, and it spread so quickly. Let's hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all with his blessings,
Yeah.
and we come out of it as early as possible. So
Yeah.
we are now going into the last session, which is the wrap-up session. So what message would you like to give to the youth and young ones, and maybe even adults, for everyone? How
Yeah.
to channelize their energies, how to think positively, how it affects your mind, body, and soul. Would you like to give your final comments on that?
Yeah, well, just to conclude what we have already discussed, that your thoughts affect your immune system. Your immune system affects your healing. It affects your life. It affects everything basically. So be careful be careful and be aware of your thoughts, and enable your body, not disable it. That's the first thing. The second thing, in this time, focus on what you want. Do not focus on like being laid off, or because that's what you will get at the end, right? Being laid off, or getting poor, or not having enough resources, or not having anything. So just focus on what you want, and that's what you will get. That's how that's what they call the law of attraction, but it has a much deeper meaning that we have learned in our training, and it affects our neurology. It can also affect our genes. Imagine. So
Exactly.
just focus on what you want, and drop the bad scenarios. Focus on the right scenarios, on what you really want. Go towards it. Keep the motivation high, and stay sane before staying safe. And stay safe, of course, definitely.
Thank you very much, Reem. It was a pleasure to have you on Coffee with Gohar. I hope you enjoyed your cup of coffee. I enjoyed my cup of coffee. And this is how it is. Let's say cheers. This is the virtual coffee we can have in Corona times. Maybe perhaps one day we'll have the real one. Okay,
Definitely.
Take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Umar,
Bye-bye.
thank you very much. Umar, thank you.